As NC State fans wait for the finish line of the PJ Haggerty sweepstakes, you have a choice to make. There's two acronyms, PTSD or LFG.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our Tuesday show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can sign up today and get $200 back in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Head on over to FanDuel.com in order to get started. Happy Tuesday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. Kenton, we saw the commitment of Paul Mbia from last Friday. There was also some additional news on the PJ Haggerty front in that NC State is the current front runner by all accounts. We saw Ole Miss dropped off the map. Texas claimed that they were never on the map. And Memphis, we haven't really heard much from Memphis. So if NC State is the last team remaining, and now we just kind of have to wait for that to get across the finish line whenever that does happen. I want to remind everybody that the NBA Draft Combine is at the end of next week. So PJ Haggerty is expected to be going through some of those processes, and more than likely an announcement will not be made until after that is over. So that brings us to the main question here on Tuesday. Are you choosing PTSD from the Mackenzie Mbako sweepstakes, where we thought we had a guy and then it kind of got quiet and then all of a sudden he's going somewhere else? Or are you leaning toward LFG? You think this will be a done deal? Perhaps behind the scenes it already is, and NC State's going to land one of the top players in the portal. What say you, Kenton?
One of the worst use of a three-letter acronym that I've ever seen outside, of course, of College Station, Texas.
Man.
Don't look up what CBO means. But if you're still worried about can Will Wade and Slater cook, if you're still worried about, things are going on too long and moseying on, we have seen multiple players come out of nowhere that nobody knew about. Nobody. And ended up in the Wolfpack's lap before this. And now we're worried? Now you're going to be worried? I think that's a little insane. I'm not joking when I say that. I think it's foolish, to say the least, to be worried about something that, again, Will Wade has shown, I'm going to get this done. Slater has shown, I'm going to get players that are going to make NC State play a winning brand of basketball. And we're worried about one potential player who, by the way, every other school says, hey, we've dropped out. Not just, he's probably going to stay. These other schools are announcing loud and proud, actually, we're good. We cannot afford it. Hey, I'm out of the deal. I'm going to tell you something right now, okay? I'm not worried about it. You shouldn't be worried about it. And I'll tell you what, even if we didn't land Hagerty, I trust Will Wade that, he's the guy. If anybody, I think he could MacGyver something to get us a showstopper regardless. I think he's that guy that, it's other fan bases will be saying, Will Wade built a national champion in Raleigh. A lot like Tobias saying, Tony Stark built this in a cave. They'll be taking that exact same tone.
With scrap.
With scraps in year zero. And guess what? We do have a guy. We do have the basketball version of Tony Stark who can do one-of-one things. So guess what? I'm expecting them to build in a cave with scraps, even though Raleigh's a lot nicer in the cave, and the players were getting a lot nicer than scraps. The players were getting their why Trilly Donovan said, I hope y'all ain't spent all your money yet, which, by the way, we still haven't seen Trilly Donovan and Andrew Slater in the same room. Just saying.
No, I think it's a great point, and kind of what I was talking about yesterday. Has Will Wade and Andrew Slater not earned your trust by now? Because even the players that I guess you could say are perceived misses, like Mackenzie Mbako, for example, did they not backfill that position with somebody we're already excited about in, I guess you could say, both Jerry Dang and now Paul Mbia? They did. And also early in the process, when Tyler Harris was a heavy name connected to NC State from Washington, one of the best three-point shooters in the country, and everybody was all over Tyler Harris, including the two of us. Shooting that well from beyond the perimeter, he can help out anybody. But then the trail went cold on that. And then Will Wade pops out with Jerry Dang, who shot, I think it was like 39% from three this past season at Florida State. It's a great addition, very long, very athletic, and he can shoot three ball. It's money ball behind the scenes, and that should be earning your trust. So even if the PJ Haggerty sweepstakes does not go the way we want it to, even though I think that it will, this staff is still going to find a way to get it right. And something I've been meaning to say on here, and I keep forgetting, y'all would be shocked how easy it is to forget something to say on here, even when you write it down a million times. With PJ Haggerty going through the NBA draft process, and I guess you could also loop in Darian Williams as well from Texas Tech. What a weapon it must feel like to have Andrew Slater on your staff. That's a guy that knows every single step of both the NBA draft process and the combine. So for Will Wade, who's talking to PJ Haggerty, saying, well, what's your timeline here, PJ? What are you looking to do? Can we get you on campus? What's your situation here? And he says, well, I really feel confident that I want to go to the NBA combine. I want to get that advice, want to get that feedback and see, where the chips fall as they may. To have Slater on the staff, Will Wade can be like, oh, you want to know about the combine? Come over here. Mr. Slater will walk you through it in its entirety. That is another level of depth to this staff that seemingly no one else really has across the country. Different variations, but nobody's as well connected as Andrew Slater. Nobody has the experience that Andrew Slater has, taking the OKC Thunder to the heights that they currently are, one of the top teams in the entire NBA right now. For Will Wade to hold Andrew Slater as a selling point for potential players, not just this year, but in years future, that are considering the NBA draft process, but they like NC State, they like what the Wolfpack have to offer. That is so invaluable that it cannot be overstated. And I'd have to imagine, assuming they've already had these types of conversations, because you've seen the crystal balls fly left and right for PJ Haggerty at NC State, you cannot overstate how dangerous that makes Will Wade and Andrew Slater as a combo. We all knew they'd be dangerous when they first arrived to State, but watching all this play out over the last month, the way they've been meticulous about adding players and now attracting the number 2 overall player in the portal, and it's widely believed that he will end up here. This is what you pay for. This is what NC State fans have waited to see forever. And that's why this roster is going to be one of the most exciting rosters that we've seen in a decade plus.
Absolutely. And even beyond the roster excitement, even if we got a lesser roster, Will Wade coaches guys up in a way that I'm not looking at him saying you have to have superior players by a mile in order to be something special. We've seen him with teams that were outgunned and outmanned. We saw what happened in the NCAA tournament with a Clemson team that was super experienced, had depth, and by the way, almost everybody in their starting lineup was shooting 35% or better from deep. And somehow the undersized McNeese, who did not have that type of shooting, came out on top. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my case is resting peacefully. It's got its Snuggie on. It's got the fan on. It's turned on the rain sounds because it's resting very, very peacefully. So, Will Wade is the type of guy, even if he didn't have top talent, I believe he could coach up a winning squad. But with the talent we're seeing, I used to say ACC, get ready to learn some reckoning. I was wrong. NCAA, get ready to learn some reckoning.
Yeah, I agree with you because, the crazy part is if Will Wade is, 80% of the coach that we already know he is because of his proven track record, this team's going to be good because the level of talent you've already grouped in already, you have a Trey Holloman, you have a Paul Mbia, you're hopeful to get a PJ Haggerty, Terrence Arsenault, Jerry Dang, all these new additions here that can do different levels of skills at a very high level. If Will Wade successfully puts the pieces together like we've seen him do it, not just one stop, but multiple stops, the proof in the pudding is there. The recipe for success is already there, and they are going to have to do that on the court, but you're getting the right pieces in the right places, the right spices, because apparently I don't spice my food. No, I'm kidding. They're doing this the right way, and that should be earning your trust up to this point. I understand if you're hesitant and you want to see results first. I totally get that. But what you're seeing from the NC State administration and the coaching staff is not something you've ever seen at NC State before. And so that's why when we get on here, we implore you to exert patience and trust in the staff and to get excited. This new era of NC State basketball is the most excitement that many of us will feel, like I was talking about, in well over a decade, like the Lorenzo Brown, TJ Warren years. We have not had this amount of talent on just one roster since then. And so you should be excited. You should want to be looking forward almost past football season. I can't believe I'm saying that, but to get this thing tipped off in November, it's going to be anxiously waiting. Yeah, no, I'm not going to take it that
skip
far.
Past football season far, but I get you.
I won't take it that far, but you're picking up what I'm putting down here. That, the buzz is already palpable, and we're still months out from tipping this thing off. So if you're leaning toward the PTSD and you're like, well, I've seen this story once with Mackenzie Mbako. I got my hopes worked up, and then it fell flat on my face. I get it, but I implore you to exert that patience, exert that trust, because whether or not it's PJ Haggerty or anyone else, this staff is going to get it right. They've proven it already this cycle, time after time after time. And so while we do think PJ Haggerty will be in the red and white, and that is reason enough to get on here and possibly pop a bottle or two, this thing's moving in the right direction, one step at a time. Coming up next, we're getting into a whole lot of nothing, a whole lot of something. More on this after a quick word from our sponsors. Our first Tuesday sponsor is FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and simply cannot miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on all of the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and after it tips off, live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever before to play smart and win big. Taking a step away from the basketball court, I'll give you a play here on Tuesday. We'll talk about it in just a little bit, but NC State baseball's on the road in a must-win scenario. Hammer that money line. That is my Tuesday pick to you. Use it wisely over on FanDuel. If you're new to FanDuel, now is the perfect time to sign up. Head on over to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If that $5 bet wins, you will win $200 back in bonus bets additionally. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Middle portion of our Tuesday show. Now time for a whole lot of nothing, a whole lot of something. 3 topics. We'll tell you exactly where we stand on them. First one here, NC State football also had a portal commitment in the last couple days. Cornerback Brian Nelson II from North Texas, widely renowned as one of the top remaining corners left in the transfer portal. NC State picks him up and is bringing him to Raleigh. Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something.
Whole lot of something. We needed secondary help badly. We needed secondary help as bad as I need water, as bad as I need air. We needed it very badly, okay? And so to see that we are getting that secondary help, again, say what you want about Doran and company. This offseason, they have made good moves. And this is another one. This is another move that I look at and I say, you're going in the right direction because you're getting – this young man is not just a guy. I think he's a difference maker, year one, plug and play.
He was also a redshirt freshman in 2024, so he has 3 years of eligibility remaining as well. He was an all-conference selection in the American Conference last season, 53 tackles, 4 interceptions, and 3 PBUs. So he's certainly very talented, and to Kenton's point, he was indeed very much needed. And I don't know what to make of still adding defensive backs at this point in the cycle other than we just purely need some. But we kind of posed this question a couple weeks ago on after we added another linebacker. We're like, does this have a deeper meaning on, some of the confidence levels in some younger players? I don't know if I read into that on this one, but it just feels like a good get. And also what Kenton was saying there, the staff is doing what they need to be doing. They're going out, identifying talent for needs on that defense, and then they're fulfilling those needs. So you certainly can't fault them for doing everything they can to try and fill in some major needs on this defense. Whether or not it's all going to work, we'll have to find out in the fall. But as it stands right now, this seems to be a good addition for the defense. Whole lot of something. Second one here is actually a picture, not really a question, but I was so shocked by this picture, I had to share it on here. Here it is. So for those of you that are listening to us, this is a picture, and in this picture is Phillip Rivers, shown on the left. Gunnar Rivers, his son, who has a standing offer from NC State, is right there in the middle. And John Gruden, former NFL coach, is there on the right. First thing that I noticed, Kenton, Gunnar is the same height as Phillip Rivers. And before y'all stop and pause this video to go look it up, I'll just tell you, Phillip Rivers is 6'5". So Gunnar Rivers is already, I believe he's a rising junior this coming fall, 6'5", and he will be one of the top quarterbacks in the entire country for his class, which we've already discussed on here before. So just on this picture, whole lot of nothing, a whole lot of something.
Whole lot of something. Gunnar Rivers, you your daddy's son. Come on over here to the red and white of the Wolfpack. You know, he's a hell of a player. And honestly, the height isn't even the thing that I noticed about this picture. Look at the quads on this kid.
Yes.
Look at those quads. He's got some legs on it. This is a guy that, listen, his dad might not have been the most mobile, but he's built. The young man he looks like an absolute unit. You know what I mean? And also Philip with that baby. Is that the new? Did they have another one? Philip, get off of her. Stop it. Stop it. Knock it off. Jeez. If him and his family moves the state, they're going to lose a couple Senate seats. Oh, my God. What is happening? What is the House of Representatives don't get light in Alabama whenever they decide to move again. But in all seriousness, Gunnar looks like a ball player, man. Hashtag Gunnar to state.
Hashtag Gunnar to state. Get that one going immediately. Hashtag Gunnar to state. Dave Dorn or whoever is going to be the coach in the near future, if y'all don't get Gunnar Rivers to come to state, I think this would be like the number one recruit of my lifetime that would warrant a crash out from me if we don't land them. For the most part, I understand when the big name players go somewhere else. And, you know, predominantly NC State has not been the premier brand really at all, let alone just in college football. But this one is obviously very different. His daddy was a legend at NC State, will forever be a legend at NC State. If we can't land this one, I'm crashing out. I'm here to tell you this one will break me. And to Kenton's point about his legs there, his legs are possibly already bigger than his daddy. So we're talking about a 6'5" frame already built out in the lower body there. I hope that maybe he has a cleaner throwing motion than Philip, but as long as the ball gets to where it's going, I won't complain too much. Please, for the love of God, hashtag Gunnar to state. The can't miss recruit of a lifetime up until this point. Got to get him in Raleigh. And last one here, and this will take us into our final segment as well. But NC State's RPI after this past week and weekend now stands at 36, which essentially presents the opportunity that you have 7 must-win games remaining in the regular season. Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something.
Whole lot of something. Again, every time we get to 13, there's an immediate bedwetting contest. Break out the rubber sheets because those boys are about to wet the bed. It's not going to be pretty. You know, you're in great position. This team was in great position. But again, you kind of expect what you saw against Miami, especially with how long they've been sustaining things there. You know, you live with it. But damn it, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to see this team host. If I said I didn't want to see some tournament baseball in Raleigh. So whole lot of something.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to imagine what the RPI would be like if you did beat UNCW last week and you even just split the 2 games with Miami from this past weekend. You're probably looking at high 20s still. To be at the mid 30s, yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. And it now presents a scenario where your margins for error are at virtually 0. You have to, I wouldn't say win out, but you probably got to go like 6-1 in your last 7 games to have a very solidified shot at hosting. And so the opportunity, like we said, and like we're about to talk about, is still on the table. But yeah, you know, this is the bed that they made. And until they want to get up, you're going to have to lie in it as well. But it's definitely a whole lot of something. And that will lead us into our next conversation here. The Pac-9 will be on the road Tuesday evening in Wilmington. It's the final midweek game of the year, and it is a must-win if I've ever seen one. More on this after a quick word from our sponsors. Our second Tuesday sponsor is Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more, and these experts are ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with the top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Posting a job is free and simple, and within a day, multiple qualified candidates you will have to choose from. And instead of hiring full-time, Upwork helps you find affordable, top-tier freelancers to scale your businesses efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's Upwork, UPWORK, Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Only at Upwork.com. Last couple minutes of our Tuesday show. Pac-9 baseball will be down in Wilmington on Tuesday evening. It's the final midweek contest of the season, and it is a must win. You've probably heard me on here in the past kind of waver in sometimes the importance of midweek games. Obviously, you want to go out and win every game you play, but if you drop a midweek in, let's say, like early March, there's no reason to crash out over that. It's not the end of the world. There's so much baseball left to play. But when you lose a game like you did last week against UNCW, you drop both games you played in Miami, and your RPI stands at 36 with only 2 weekends remaining. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is a must win. Stamp it. It is a must win. You have to win this game if you want to keep your hosting chances alive. And I saw that UNCW is actually going to be throwing the same pitcher, the same starting pitcher that they did last Tuesday. His ERA is almost 10. And we actually helped him out because the last time we saw him, he put together what was like his second best start of the entire season. If you can't beat this guy, with all due respect, then maybe you shouldn't host. Maybe you don't deserve to host. That is the opportunity this evening for NC State. And the next point here, Shane Van Dam, welcome back. Shane Van Dam will get the start for the Wolfpack on Tuesday. Obviously, he is now 1 year removed from UCL surgery, has not pitched in a game since that series at Florida State an entire year ago. I have some thoughts. I'm a little bit reserved on this because I think if the staff is going to put Shane Van Dam, his first action back in a must-win game, one, they more than likely trust him like heavily because, again, this is a game you can't lose. And two, I'll be very interested to see what his pitch count will be if they have him on a pitch count because you don't want to run him back too early and re-injure him. You also don't want to get in a situation where, I don't know, you're burning usable pitchers for the weekend either. So that is something to keep an eye on. But Kenton, if Shane Van Dam returns to this rotation and he's effective immediately, what does that do for this team on Tuesday and the next couple of weeks?
I mean, it absolutely gives you another very viable live arm. I mean, you can never have too many. There's not – if we don't get the double bye, which, by the way, we're in position to get a double bye. That's where – although hosting may be like, all right, you're either going to need to be darn near perfect or you're going to need some help. Double bye is not that in terms of the ACC tournament. Now, with that in mind, if something were to happen and we continue this little skid we're on and we end up having to play, 3 or 4 games, or what everybody has to play 3 if you get to the championship, right? But
4, at least 4 if you're not in the top 4.
Yeah, so if we end up having to play 4, I doubt 5, but if we end up having to play 4 games, you're looking at a situation where all of a sudden you're going to need these arms. You're going to need a Shane Van Dam to come in and give you a quality start and all those types of things. So, I absolutely love that. And just because, and listen to me, Pac-9, listen to me, because I know some of y'all watch the show. Just because my man Grayson said it's a must win doesn't mean that we bring the midweek must back. Wash that off. Wash that stench off you. They're throwing a guy that is allowing a touchdown and a field goal every time he's on the mound. Run it up and put 2 touchdowns on them boys. Run it up. Don't play around. Don't play with your food. You are the superior team. They're throwing anybody. That, in essence, with all due respect, they're throwing anybody at you. You've got to take care of the business. You've got to take care of business here.
Everything on the wall would tell you that NC State will take care of business on Tuesday because, one, you have a pitcher that's, quite frankly, not very good. You have a pissed off NC State because the way the last week went, and it's a must-win game. You mix those 3 scenarios in the pot, and what we know about Elia Avent and the Pac-9 is you trust them in big game situations like this one. So it's a must-win. It's also a can't-lose, and you have got to go on the road and get it done. No more lackadaisical offense like we saw, I guess the entirety of last week. You have to attack from the first inning. Put it on them early and then cruise to a comfortable victory. You don't want to burn up any additional pitching like I was talking about, because you're going to need that. You get the Dirty Foot Club coming up this weekend. So you're going to need all hands on deck for that one. Make this one a comfortable one. Don't make yourself sweat on a Tuesday when you're going to have to grind this coming weekend. So Pac-9 on the road in Wilmington, the final midweek contest of the year, must win. If anyone's confused about that, it's a must win, a game that you cannot afford to lose. Stamp it, must win. Let's go get it done. That will do it for us here on Tuesday. As always, thank you all so much for joining us. Be sure to hit that like button, drop your comments in the comment box. Give us your thoughts on the PJ Haggerty sweepstakes. Are you growing worried because of how quiet it is right now? Are you going to have the patience that it requires to wait potentially 2 weeks to finally get him across the finish line? Trust the process. We've been saying that for a reason, but never more important than possibly right now. Any other thoughts you have on the Pac-9 or NC State football as well, drop that in the comment box. Mash that subscribe button if you have not already. We'll catch you right back here tomorrow on Wednesday for more. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.